Thanks to all of you for joining us today in your busy schedules. And today I'm going to be talking about the features, the main features that are inside of AutoCAD 2019, and of course talking about all those great tool sets and the value that that adds to you. And so as mentioned, I'm going to start off by showing you some cool features that you can use if you're inside of AutoCAD 2019. I'm sure I'll show you a few that you can use even if you're not. And as mentioned, those tool sets. And then at the very end, we'll take a look at the AutoCAD web application and also talk about how you can take AutoCAD mobilely, which comes in handy, save some trees, right? We like to do that. So let's start off by talking about some great features. And this was a big request, DWG Compare, the ability to compare two drawings or drawings with XREFs with each other to see what the differences are. I'm sure we've all been there, right? You have drawing A, maybe it's in one directory, and then you have the same drawing in another directory. You're like, oh, what's the difference between the two? What's happened? Or maybe you've had two people working on the same file and the wires got crossed, and you want to know what the difference is between those two files. So DWG Compare has been a big wish list request with AutoCAD. Now, some of you might have used a design review. That was another option for a while there. And some of you might have the BIM 360 products where you also have this type of capability. But now this is built right into AutoCAD. All right. And I love the way they did it. They did a great job. It's very simple, very low stress, and yet very, very powerful. So let me show it to you. I just think they did a great job at this. Helps if I go to the right program. There we go. All right, so first off, you're going to have to tell AutoCAD which two files you want it to compare, right? So I'm going to compare the one that I currently have open. If you don't have any files open, it's going to ask you to pick two specific files. Okay, I'm going to go up here to the new Collaborate tab on the ribbon. You'll see there's only a couple of tools. These are both new to 2019. So if you don't have 2019, you do not have a Collaborate tab. And I'm going to click on, and I kind of laugh because if we were truly collaborating, we probably wouldn't need DWG Compare. So I kind of found it amusing that's the tab they put it on. Because usually there was a collaboration error that's causing us to have to check. But I'm going to go ahead and click on DWG Compare. You'll see by default it loaded my current drawing. And then all you have to do is select the other drawing that you want to compare it to. You have two versions of the same drawing file. And then, I don't know, super simple, hit Compare, give it just a quick second. And you will see that it's making it very clear to me the differences between the two files. You can see up here, everything that's green that's different is from the first one that I had open, right? And everything that's different in the second one is red. And you can control those colors. You can control the draw order, as you can see here, decide which one's going to be on top. You can turn off, I could turn off what's common to both. So now I'm just looking at the changes. Or you can turn off independently the individual drawings. And if you don't like the colors, you can change the colors. Maybe red makes you unhappy. You could change it to something else. What would you like? How about magenta? A color that we wouldn't even know what that color was, or cyan, right? If it wasn't for AutoCAD. All right, so that's very simple, very straightforward. I do want to point out that it has created a new drawing file. Here you can see compare first floor plan version 1 with first floor plan version 2. This is a whole new drawing. You're not going to edit this drawing. This is just there for informational purposes so you can make some executive decisions. In fact, if you want to, you can add this information, this drawing information. I can say insert into the drawing, and it'll put a nice little table in the drawing anywhere you want it to. You can decide how big you want it to be, big enough so you can read it. And you can see the information from the comparison of the two drawing files is listed on there. And then you could send this file to the people that are in charge of these drawing files, and hopefully between the two of them, they'll be able to figure out what needs to be modified and what doesn't. Or maybe it's just you. Maybe you're the one who did it. So it depends. What else have we got? Okay, I told it to compare text. You could also tell it to compare hatch. You can see as soon as I did that, it showed those hatch patterns on there. And I'm sure you noticed that it put these revision clouds on here by default. Now, if you take a look at these rectangular revision clouds, I mean, that's so big, it might as well put a revision cloud around the entire drawing, if you ask me. So I prefer to switch it over to polygonal, which incidentally, if you listen to the AutoCAD videos that Autodesk put out, it calls that polygonal, which is not a word. I'm just going to tell you. That's not how you say it. It's polygonal. Every time I hear those videos, I cringe. You guys don't know how to say it. I was a math major. But now it's a little bit easier for me to see. Oh, I can see there's a revision there and a revision here, and it's just a little bit more clear. You can control the margins as well. You can make them bigger, smaller. That's up to you. I don't think, whatever is easier for you to see. I'm not a big fan of this color scheme. If I had a dark background, it would be fine. I'm currently on a white background. So if I go into layers, you will actually see that there is a layer called markups on here, and you can change the color of that to accommodate, whatever is easiest for you to see. What else have I got going on? Well, I love this right here. This will actually step through the different changes where the revision clouds are to make it more clear where you might have some differences between the two drawings. As you can see here, I might have missed this one because it's kind of small. And then here, it went ahead and moved down here. They just did a really good job here. It's very, very simple, very straightforward. All right, so that is DWG Compare. I don't think it can get much easier than that. And once again, you're not going to want to modify this drawing. You're going to want to go back to the other two drawings and figure out what your game plan is going to be, right? Okay, so let's go back over to the PowerPoint. Shared views. All right, so these actually used to be called design views previously. And now they've been in AutoCAD for a while. So even if you don't have 2019, you can still do this. But they used to be called design views. Now they've got a name change. And they're faster and they're better, able to leap tall buildings. But what the heck are they? So if you are working with somebody that does not have AutoCAD, and you're working with somebody that is far from technical, I know all of you just had an image come up in your mind of somebody who's not very technically savvy. Shared views are great. Now we're used to kind of passing PDFs around, but this is another option to you. If you use shared views, you're basically sending the images to them. They can get inside the drawing file. They can do measurements. They can take a look at properties. They can do markups, but they can't hurt the original drawing, right? They're not able to access the original drawing, which is fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And it's also, as mentioned, super easy for people that are not technical to take a look at your drawing files, which I think is great. So let me show you. You'll understand more when I show you. It's kind of hard to explain. A couple of these are really hard to explain, actually. You've got to just see it in action. All right, so let's say I have a client who needs to see what I've been doing so far on this drawing file. Well, very simple. You have to be logged in. You can see I'm logged into my account. You have to be logged in. They don't have to have an Autodesk account. They don't have to know how to do anything at all except for click on a link in an email you're going to send to them. Now, if they're not able to click on a link with an email you send to them, well, I can't help you. They have to at least be able to do that. But let me show you how this works. So once again, on the Collaborate tab, here are these shared views. And this opens up the shared views panel. You can see I was kind of playing around with this yesterday. And this keeps track of all the views that I've shared with people. And I'm going to click New Shared View. Okay. She says, there we go. That's funny. For some reason, it didn't select. All right, but we got it. So it's going to ask you some questions. What do you want to call your new shared view that you're going to share with somebody? Maybe you put the client's name or something on there. And then do you want to just share the current view? And by current view, it just means basically the current layout or model space. Or do you want to share the model view and all the layouts? Okay, I'm going to do the whole thing. That's going to obviously take a little bit longer than if I just shared the current layout. I do want to create 2D views only. If it's a 3D model, do you want it to include the 3D model information? And do you want to share the object properties? So some of the intelligence that goes with the file. The more things that, if you select object properties, that's also going to make it a little bit slower. All right, I'm ready. I'm going to click on share. And I just leave this dialog box on just so you can see it because it's going to show up. You would say, do not show me this message ever again as long as I live, right? But basically, it's going to let you know it's about to do some processing in the background. I don't know why it needs to tell me that. Fine, thanks for letting me know. And the only way that you know that anything's happening is if you take a look in the lower right-hand corner of the drawing editor, there is this cube with the little circle that's going around and around, a little wheel there. That's the only way you can tell. And I move my cursor down there, so I have a tooltip that says it's publishing the shared view. All right, so while it's trying to figure that out, I will mention just a couple of other things to you. Each of these views are valid for 30 days. So if you need it for longer than 30 days, it's really simple to go back into the shared views palette. You can click on those 3 dots there, and you can see that you can extend it. So that'll give it another 30 days, just so you know. And if it doesn't finish quickly, oh, okay, I was ready to go. I have a cake in the oven, just like Julia Child, ready to go. Click View in Browser. And this does take a couple seconds, so I might, oh, that was fast. Good, yay. So how does it decide how fast it's gonna be? Internet connection, and then how many other people in the world are doing this at the same time, basically. So that was pretty darn good. That was very fast, very efficient. And so now we happen to be in this very cool viewer. It's a very simple viewer, very straightforward. I can take a look at the different sheet sets that I have, as you can see on here. That one's taking a little bit longer to load. Okay, let's go back over to this one. And you'll also see that I have the ability to take a look at layers. I can turn layers off. Let's do that on this one. I think it's the easiest way for you to see it. And so as I come down here, if I don't want to see my appliances, can you see some things disappearing in there? How about I don't want to see the cabinetry or the corner counters? You should see some things disappearing as I go through there. You don't have the ability to change the colors or do anything other really than turn them on and off. Properties, if you select an object, it will tell you the properties about that specific object. I don't have a property selected. I will tell you there's a very key feature here that you need to know about. Let me close my layers palette. I'm going to go to settings, and you will see that there's an option on here for navigation. Now, by default, when you go into this viewer and you push the wheel on your mouse, it does the opposite of zooming inside of AutoCAD, which is great if you're an Inventor user or another 3D modeling product user, because you're used to that, but not inside of AutoCAD, not inside of Revit. We're not used to that. So the first thing I did is I reversed the direction so that I don't go crazy when I use my mouse wheel and I think I'm zooming in and it actually starts to zoom out. So that's something that I think you definitely want to make sure that you modify, that you turn that on. Okay, so what else can I do? I can do some basic measurements. Let's go back over here. Let's just do a quick little measure. I can zoom in, thankfully the right way because I modified that file. And then, you can measure anything. It does some automatic object snaps. You can see that it did a nice little measurement there. I can also do some markups, some very simple markups. Let's do markup. All right, let's see if it'll let me do it here. All right, let's say there's something wrong there. It's a great big huge revision cloud. And you can put some text on here too, that's fine. I would, closet too small, because it always is too small, if you ask me. So you can do some basic markups on here, and then if I come over here to save, I can actually save what I just did with those markups. Does it override the original DWG? Nope, your DWG is safe. All it does is save this information for me. All right. Now there's some other things on here, very, very crucial. You might want to share, right? You probably want to share this with somebody. That's probably why you made these to begin with. That's why they're called shared views. And in order to do that, here is your link. So you're going to copy that link and you're going to drop it into an email. It's just that simple. And then whoever you send the email to, and it's, there's no gateway here, so they could forward it to someone else as well. They click on this link and it will get them in and they can take a look at this file. They can take a look at everything that I just showed you. They can turn layers on and off and take a look at individual properties and things like that. Okay, you might want to make some comments on here. As was mentioned, I could say closet's still too small. This is not a document management program, all right? You don't want to throw your BIM 360 out the window or whatever document management program that you're using. This is a very simple, very straightforward markup system. It doesn't alert people. It's not going to check and see if things have been resolved. You'd have to manually resolve it like you see right here. And then, of course, you can print these out. There's nothing to keep you from printing them out. And this is kind of a cool feature, a screenshot, which actually takes a picture of what you're looking at right here on the screen, and it downloads it to a graphics file, to a PNG file. So that's another option for you as well. So there's some cool things in here. It's, once again, it's intentionally meant to be very low stress. So there's not a whole lot of things you can do in here. It's meant to just be a great, viewing tool with some basic markup capabilities. Okay, all right, so let's move along. Shared views, those are shared views. All right, let's go on to the user interface. So for those of you who had 4K monitors, you've had a less than great experience inside of AutoCAD for the last few releases. When AutoCAD 2019 came out, that really changed that. They updated over 200 dialog boxes and a lot of elements on the user interface so that you would just have a better experience. I'm trying to think, like the edit layer state dialog box, insert table, things like that. Those are all totally renovated so you can have value with that 4K monitor that you spent all that money on. And I kind of joked, one of the things I absolutely love about 2019 is that they finally updated the trim icon. So you can actually tell very easily that it's going to trim. They put a pair of scissors on there. I know people who did that on their own. They modified the icon to make sure that the scissors or something delineated it, because trim and extend look so much alike, right? So I'm sure you've picked the wrong one by accident in a hurry. So now it's very, very clear, which is kind of funny. Now, some of you might remember the old days when the explode command actually had a bomb as a symbol on the icon, which obviously is completely not politically correct anymore. So they did get rid of that a few releases ago, but we all knew what it meant. We knew it was supposed to explode, that's for sure. Just a little bit too violent. Not appropriate. So named views. So it's a little confusing because in AutoCAD 2019, they added in shared views and named views, and you can easily get them confused. Named views have been in AutoCAD for a long time. AutoCAD gurus use named views because there's some very cool things that you can do with named views that can really help you be more productive. So just to kind of explain what a named view is, these were originally created back when AutoCAD was super, super slow and regenerations were very painful. If you had a super large drawing, like a map, for example, you could save named views of the different sections of that map. Instead of zooming in and zooming out, which used to always require regeneration, you could go straight from A to B. You could go straight from this part of a map to a different part of a map just by calling out that particular named view. If I were to simplify it, let's give you an example where you would probably not use named views, but if you had a floor plan, you could make a view called bedroom, and one called living room, and one called kitchen, one called bathroom, and then using the view command, you could go straight from the bathroom over to the kitchen view very, very quickly without having to do any zooming in or zooming out. All right, so let's talk now. With 2019, they really amped up the power of named views, which made AutoCAD gurus very, very happy. So let's take a look at exactly what they did. I'm going to come over to this drawing over here. Let's close this shared view. All right, so here I'm in a drawing file. This is a pretty big drawing file, and maybe I want to be able to quickly go from one part of the drawing file to another. So if I go to the View tab on the ribbon, you will see that this drawing has a variety of views in it, and this little drop down is new as well. I can go straight to a view of the patio pool. These were made ahead of time. I can go straight to a view of the pool, get it even closer. It's not the patio and the pool. And then I can go back to the house, for example. Zoom back out a little bit. And I just manually zoom back out. You can't see that, but I manually zoom back out. If you don't have that drop-down list, in previous releases, we used to go to views this way. We would use the in-canvas viewport controls, and we could go to them directly on there as well. There it goes to the driveway. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out. So how do you make a view? Because that's been streamlined as well. So we used to go to the View Manager, and if you have 2018 or before, this is how you do it. You go to the View Manager. Here you see all the views in here that have already been created, and you're going to say New. Pretty straightforward. View name. Let's call this one Staircase, or Stairs, or whatever that is. And if you don't, you can go ahead and you can look at all. You can categorize them all. If you have so many views, you can't keep track of them. That means you've been spending too much time making views, in my humble opinion. You can control the view type. I just really don't want you to focus on any of this stuff. We're just making still views. There's a bunch of things you can do with this particular dialog box. Do not make it complicated. Make it very, very simple. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say define window, because I don't want the whole display. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to grab this little spiral staircase here, and I'm going to make that my view. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and another OK. And now you'll see if I drop this list down that I also have my staircase view. Okay. Now, So far, you're like, Lynn, that's not that exciting. I could have zoomed in and out by now. I don't find that exciting. I'm about to show you why it's so exciting. Okay. I am going to turn off a couple of layers. Let's freeze some layers. Let's freeze that boulder layer. Okay, those boulders are gone. And now I'm going to go back over to view and I'm going to click on new view. So this is a new tool. It lets me bypass going into view manager and clicking on new. I don't like extra steps. I can just go straight to new view. That's usually why we go in view manager to begin with. I'm going to create, well, let me show you first this if you drop this arrow down, the coolest thing in the whole entire world is hiding inside of this view command. Save layer snapshot with the view. What? Are you kidding me? So what that means is when you save this view, we'll also remember what the layer settings were. And now this command just became so much more powerful. So now you're not just moving from one area of the drawing to the other. As you go from view to view, you'll find the layers flip on and off for you automatically. I want you to think about how powerful that can be. Sure, you're going to have to spend some time setting it up to begin with, but in the long run, this command really, really pays off. All right, so awesome. I'm going to make sure that's on. There's a million things in here too, which are overwhelming. Don't look at them. Don't look at them. I just want you to look at this one option right there. All right, you can look into more detail later after you get good at it. But for right now, you can also, incidentally, by the way, you can also save the UCS with the view. So it would modify the UCS at the same time when you went to the view. Okay, I will mention that, especially for those of you who are in 3D. Okay, but right now, let's just keep it simple. I'm going to make a new view. I'm going to call this one staircase without boulders, all right? I know I'm brilliant. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say define the window. And let's make it like so. It's pretty close to where it was before. Press and enter to accept, and I'm going to go ahead and say okay. And you don't have to define a window. You can just use the current display. You saw that on there. All right, so let's see what's going on, Lynn. Let's go to, let's look at the pool. Oh, wait, I got to turn those layers back on, right? So the fastest way to turn those layers back on, otherwise this isn't going to be very exciting, right, is to drop this down, and there is this little, I love this guy, undoes the last change or set of changes made to layer settings. So I'm going to put them all back. All right, they're not frozen anymore. Not frozen anymore. Okay, let's go back to the view. Let's drop this down. And let's go to, we'll go to the first one we made. Here's the staircase. The boulders are on. And here's the staircase without boulders. See that? It flipped the layers for you. Love it, love it. That's so, so powerful. I want you to start thinking about how you can use that, all right? Because it's very, very powerful. All right, what else have we got in here? So this other part is also new. This is very, very new. They now allow you to take those named views and just drop them right into Paperspace as viewports. Very easily as well. I think the easy part is the key here. So here I'm in a layout, and I'm going to go grab those views and I'm going to drop them in. I'm going to go to the layout tab on the ribbon, right? As you can see on here. So I'm no longer in view. And you will see, check this out. My views just show up right here, and I can like drag and drop them. There's my pool. I can drag and drop them. Oh, what did it use for the scale factor? It used the annotation scale factor of the view, as long as it fits on the sheet. And if you don't like that scale factor, you can click on it just like anything else, and you can change it after the fact. It's not a problem. That's a little bit too big, Lynn. Make it tiny. Okay, but you get the idea. You can also change the scale factor as you're inserting it. So if I were to click on staircase, I can do a right click, and you can see that I can control the scale factor before I even place it on there. So that's up to you as well. You can fix it afterwards, or you can change the scale factor as you are inserting it. All right, so one other option on here I want to make sure you know. You can also make a view on the fly. Why not? There's a new view option. Hopefully you can see that right there. I'm going to click on that. It's going to take me back to model space, and then I can make, like I said, I can make a view right on the fly. I want some kind of a plant. There we go. We got some plants on there. So I'm going to go ahead and just, let's put a window around. There we go, my plant. This is highly sophisticated. And then you just go ahead and pick where you want it to go. Same deal. If you don't like the scale factor, you can fix it afterwards, or you can right click to fix it ahead of time, whatever works for you. So very simple. So those are all options for you. A lot going on. but very, very powerful. Hopefully you like that. So try those. Hopefully I made it feel easy for you to use because it actually is pretty easy to use and it can be very, very powerful. Once again, especially because you can flip those layers on and off. All right, let's keep going. XREF layer overrides. Make sure I keep track of the time here. All right, so most of us use XREFs in some way, shape, or form. And many of us are fully aware that we can go into those XREFs and we can override the layer settings, right? We can change the properties of them, make a different color, make a different line type, whatever the situation is, as long as the objects are by layer, right? And I'm going to show you how to get past that in case they didn't draw by layer as well. You're going to love this tool. There's a couple of very cool tools in here. And so let me jump back over to AutoCAD and we'll go over to this drawing right here. So I have 3 viewports. Inside of these viewports, I have just so you know, there are XREFs in here. So there really aren't too many objects that are just simply a part of this drawing. These are all XREF'd in. Now if I go to the layer manager, I can take a look at my XREF layers. We all know this has been in there for a while. Here's all my XREF layers. And if I were to just grab a few of these and change the color. I'm going to do an override, okay? Let's change the color to green, for example. If you take a look at the dialog box, I just want you to see that they added in a whole new section for XREF overrides, first of all. And I'm going to come back up here so you can see the difference. You'll also see that any layer that has an override also has, has this blue characteristic to it. It's highlighted in some way, shape, or form. If for some reason you don't like that, incidentally, you can click on this button right here. It will turn that off, that highlighting. Right? I don't know why it's such a big deal. I don't think it merits its own button. I don't know anybody will be really stressed about that. And you'll also see that there's an icon at the very beginning of the layer that also shows that it has an override, color override green. Can you see that? All right, just so you know, in case there's any doubt, if there's an override on an XREF layer, I don't know how you could miss it now. It's like 3 different ways to see it. Now I'm going to actually select all of the XREF layers and I'm going to change them all to green. Okay. So you can see they all are overridden now, right? If I move my cursor away, you can see if I come over here to XREF overrides, there's like a zillion layers of overrides, right? Now if I move my cursor, away from the layer dialog box, you will actually see that not everything turned green. What? Why didn't everything turn green? Well, you know the answer to that. That is because not all those layers were set to by layer. What? Oh, how frustrating. That's okay. I'm going to show you a way to fix it. There is a system variable called XREF override, and this is not just 19. This is in previous releases as well. So for those of you who haven't upgraded yet, still write this down. If you set XREF override to 1, watch what happens. Now you were the boss, you took over, you told those layers what you wanted it to do and it followed suit. It does not affect the original drawing, the source drawing. It's only for this particular drawing file. So that should make a lot of you really happy. Now I also want to show you that in the layer dialog box inside of AutoCAD 2019, if you go to settings, you will see that there is an option on here. Treat XREF object properties as by layer. So if you can't remember that system variable XREF override and you have AutoCAD 2019, you can just turn that box on. The same thing happens. All right. And just in case you lost where VisRetain went, because it used to be in the options dialog box, I just want you to see they moved VisRetain over to the layer settings dialog box, just in case. Like, where did it go? That's where it is. Okay. Moving right along. I talked about all of that. Now we're going to get to some of the good stuff. So one of the cool things about AutoCAD 2019 is that they took all of the various flavors of AutoCAD, almost all of them, and they put them together into this one product. Well, when you buy the one product, or you subscribe to the one product, I should say. And if you take a look, you'll see you now get AutoCAD Mechanical, AutoCAD Architecture, Electrical, Map 3D, MEP, Plan 3D, and an awesome top secret tool called Raster Design that I'm totally going to talk about. It's not a flavor of AutoCAD, it's just an awesome product. And this is fantastic because if you've ever wanted to try one of the other products, like let's say you're in architecture and you've wanted to try the AutoCAD Architecture, this is a great way of doing it because you have it. It's there available to you. Now, I also want to make sure that you understand that these don't just automatically pop up inside of AutoCAD. they are totally separate products. So while you could load all of these, just realize it's going to take some time, as we know, and it's also going to take up a lot of space on your hard drive. All things for you to think about. So you're, of course, only going to load the one for the discipline that is your specific industry. So if you're a mechanical, you'll load the AutoCAD mechanical, and then maybe raster design when I explain to you what it is. All right, so let's just do a little bit of work here. Let's just walk through, not work, but let's talk a little bit about what's in each one of these. But just realize that these tool sets have huge libraries associated with them. They're completely customized for your specific application, which is also really nice. So you feel a lot more comfortable. It's not just generic AutoCAD that was made for all people. You should be able to get your jobs done faster because there's a lot of automation in each one of these. As long as you use those automations, that's part of the deal. As long as you fully embrace the product, and you're still in AutoCAD, so you're still living happily ever after. If you're an AutoCAD guru, right? You just feel more comfortable in your own environment, and they're this very efficient. So AutoCAD mechanical. We're just going to run through these really, really quickly just to make sure we're all on the same page. So this is a great companion to Autodesk Inventor. For those of you who are using Inventor, they do play nicely together. It comes with over 700,000 manufacturing parts. It does a great job at balloons and bill of materials. It just does a much better job than vanilla AutoCAD all on its own. So definitely if you're in the mechanical space and you haven't made the move to Inventor, or even if you have, this is a great companion product to in the manufacturing space. And then AutoCAD Architecture, probably the most popular of all of them. I call this the gateway drug to BIM, right? The gateway drug to Revit, because some of you aren't ready to go from AutoCAD to Revit, but you're clinging on to your AutoCAD because you're so good at it. I get it. At least download AutoCAD Architecture and start to work with that. And I'll tell you, it's easier to go from AutoCAD Architecture to Revit than it is from AutoCAD to Revit. So at least you'll be like doing baby steps, right? A half step there to truly getting into the world of BIM. And you'll see, once again, it comes with all kinds of architectural objects. It's really easy to do floor plans and sections and elevations. And I'll show you, if I have time, I'll jump in. I'll make time. I'm going to try to make time. I'll jump in and just show you how easy it is to use it. For example, we'll just do something really basic. AutoCAD Electrical comes with over 65,000 intelligent electrical symbols. It does a great job at wire numbering and component tagging and coil and contact cross-referencing and all kinds of cool, great things that you guys who are into the electrical world use and need. Map 3D. Great product, absolutely great product for those of you who are, working with the world of GIS. I remember someone at Autodesk used to say this was the top secret product that Autodesk had because it allowed more than one person to be in the same drawing at the same time, which was extremely powerful, especially back then. Some very cool tools here for the Map 3D folks, for the GIS folks. And then the MEP tool set for, it has all kinds of, it has, as you can see on here, over 10,000 MEP objects. And you can do ductwork, electrical conduit, and circuiting for HVAC and plumbing, you name it, and some electrical as well. So once again, if this is your industry, you should really be using these products and not vanilla AutoCAD. Same with Plant 3D. You can do P&IDs. It also comes with its set of symbols as well, and it's going to streamline the process for you and help you get your jobs done faster. All right, so before I talk about raster design, I am just going to hop over super fast, quickly over here, trying to leave some time for questions. This is AutoCAD Architecture. Just to give you an example, you can see I've got walls, doors, and windows. I still have lines, arcs, and circles, but I'm going to be drawing walls, and I'm going to be inserting doors and windows. Why not have that automated already for you, right? So I'm just really quickly, just going to very, very quickly, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to draw a wall, okay? And let's just start to draw it. And let's say I want it to be 40 feet. And I want it to go up 20 feet. And then it's the same tools that you're used to working with as well. You can see on here, I was able to use my, object snaps there. And then very simply, well, let's, close it, Lynn, for goodness sakes. Let's do a close. Heavens. Who's using this AutoCAD? But very straightforward. It made a floor. It made a wall. So what did that wall look like? Well, you have the capability over here to give it the information that you need. You can tell it how you want that, how tall you want that wall to be, how you want it justified, the offset. There's all kinds of things on here that you have control of. So you would come here and customize it for your specific needs. All right. What about a door? Same deal. If I look over here, it's telling me what this door is like. I can make modifications to it based on how I want my door to look and the size of it and all the different door, you name it, on there. But let's go ahead and just insert one really quickly. I want one that goes here. Look at that. You can decide what direction you want it to go. I want this one to go inside. I'm not doing anything other than just clicking on that wall. It automatically trims it, everything for me. I love that. That's so easy. Think about how you do that in AutoCAD and how many steps you just eliminated. All right, windows. We need windows. Same deal. You have control over the properties, over what those windows look like. In the interest of time, I'm just going to pop these babies in. Now I want a window there, maybe 2 windows over here. And the other wall, you get no windows. What does it look like? This is in 3D. It practically generates that 3D for you, which is fantastic. And you can, of course, change it to however you want it to look, hidden, or maybe you want it to be all colored in, whatever. So you have quite a bit, or realistic, or whatever you want. You have quite a bit of capabilities, and this is specifically set up just for those of you who are in the architectural space, which is wonderful. So I really encourage you, if you have 2019 and you're a subscriber, that you definitely download all of those, right? Not all of those, download the one that's specific to you. Do not download all of them. Don't listen to me. All right, so on that note, raster design. So if you I didn't do that. This is when I find out it has an automatic forward. We have the ability to bring PDF files in and convert them to AutoCAD objects now inside of AutoCAD. That's been in there for the last few releases. But what if you have a drawing that didn't start out as a PDF, or it's a really old AutoCAD drawing? What if it's a scan drawing? You cannot bring those in and automatically convert them over to objects. It's very painful, right? It's very difficult to do. Usually you just end up starting all over again from scratch. And I'm sure many of you have old drawing files that, or old paper drawings, or maybe even some images that you would like to convert over to AutoCAD objects. So this is where raster design comes in. Raster design is smart. It recognizes things. It allows you to do all kinds of raster to vector conversion. It recognizes text, and it just makes it much easier for you to edit and clean up those images. You can put the image on its own layer, you can draw on top of it, or you can convert the objects. It's very, very, very powerful. And you can do things like despeckle. You can touch up the images. I will tell you, if it's a really old drawing file and there's a coffee stain on it, you're going to get a circle, right? Or if there's a big crease in the paper, you might get another line. But nevertheless, it's a very powerful product, better than starting over from scratch. So raster design, now, you have it. More than likely, you have it. So just once again, just to reiterate, rather than having to do so many steps just to get like a simple floor plan in a product like architecture, the AutoCAD architecture, you'd be able to get it done in much fewer steps, which saves time. So if you get paid by the hour, don't download and use any of those other products, I guess. And then I am totally running out of time, but I'm going to wrap this up really quickly. So there is an AutoCAD web version, and if you're a subscriber, you have access to it. Let me just jump over very quickly over to let's go over here. Let's come up here, and I loaded it ahead of time. So you have to be logged into your Autodesk account, and this is the AutoCAD web app. It's very simplistic. You'll see it has a command line now, which is nice. Didn't have that all along. This is a doghouse. It's a sample drawing. You will see that you have access to layers. You can turn layers on and off. You can change the colors of those layers if you want to, but it's pretty basic, right? Properties. And here's my tools, my drawing tools, my annotate tools, my modify tools. But I'll tell you, if I was stuck somewhere and I needed to make modifications to an AutoCAD drawing file, and I'm not at a computer where there's AutoCAD, you can go onto this web app and you can do some basic changes. I can go ahead and draw my circle, whatever the situation is. So you can see these are the tools we're familiar with. This is the polyline tool, works just like the regular polylines. I can switch over to arc. If you take a look at the command line, you can see it's very similar to what we're used to doing. And then once again, you have you have a lot of the basic modification tools. So something for you to take into consideration. This, of course, is going to continue to develop and become more and more powerful over time. And you know, eventually, at some point in time, I wouldn't be surprised if the entire AutoCAD app was available. The entire AutoCAD program was available online someday. We're working on it. So that's incidentally, that's web.autocad.com, web.autocad.com. And if you're a subscriber, you have access to that. And just kind of talking a little bit, here's the web app, as mentioned, and then the mobile app. So the mobile app's been available for a long time. It's fantastic. Why are we, you know, printing everything out when we can just take our iPad out to the site? Even if you don't have connectivity, there's no internet, you can still download them ahead of time and take them out, and you can zoom and pan, and tablets have, you know, GPS built into them. So you can actually drop a marker while you're on site when you're in the exact same location as where you are in the drawing, and it will actually know where you are in the drawing at all times as you're walking around on the site. Crazy stuff. And it has the basic tools. It has markups. It has, of course, zooming, panning, and text and things like that. It's a pretty powerful program. I really do like the mobile app, and I strongly suggest you take a look at it. You have access to that. And there we go. And incidentally, you have the ability to you can save these files as you make changes to them to AutoCAD Web and Mobile, and you can also open them from inside of AutoCAD as well later on. Now, it doesn't do versioning, so that's why you're going to call it something else, right? It's going to end up in a different directory anyway, but nevertheless, just keep that in mind. Once again, it's not a document management program, right? So there's a lot of advantages to being a subscriber. I showed you the tool sets. You have the ability to access the mobile app and the web app. There's a lot of advantages. Most of you I'm talking to you right now are probably subscribers, because nearly all, so many Autodesk customers are nowadays. And absolutely, Microsol can tell you more about it.